This anime is really impressive in many ways, so be aware of that. I recommend not watching it without headphones or near several people. In the description, I left Wise so you can donate some money if you like the video. Since the channel is not monetized yet, let's go to the video. Right at the beginning, we are introduced to a girl named Takamine-san who is seen by the whole school as a true goddess since she is at the top of absolutely everything both in grades and in sports. In addition, her absurd charisma made her become president of the student council in her first year of high school. On the other hand, we have a boy named Shirota, a simple student who is basically ignored by most people to the point that a classmate sits in his place as if he didn't even exist. The boy begins to compare his life with Takamine's and realizes that the only thing they have in common is the fact that they study at the same school. However, unlike him, she has always been treated as a child prodigy, so Takamine has never had any kind of contact with losers of Shirota's level, which made them forget any possibility of friendship, and thinking about dating would be something completely impossible for him. One day, the boy goes to a remote room in the school that functions as a storage room for physical education materials until out of nowhere Takamine appears there and Shirota hides, hoping she doesn't notice. Meanwhile, Takamine starts to take off her clothes in that place, thinking that no one is looking at him. Shirota closes his eyes, trying not to see anything compromising. However, when he hears the sound of her shirt falling to the floor, Shirota can't contain his curiosity and ends up taking a peek at her. He sees her putting on tsuchiya and realizes that she went there just to do that. When he realizes that she ended up looking at something she shouldn't have, Shirota starts to blame himself, feeling like a piece of human garbage for having taken advantage of that moment. Later, when he returns to the classroom, Shirota continues to wonder why Takamine got changed in that exact place. Suddenly, the teacher arrives in the classroom to hand out the math tests from the previous class. When he picks up his test, Shirota is shocked to see that he got a high grade. After all, he was sure that he wouldn't do well as usual. Meanwhile, Takamine goes to the teacher's desk to pick up her test too, but unlike usual, she didn't get a perfect score, which surprises the teacher because that is something extremely rare to happen. When he sees that, Shirota realizes that even Takamine makes mistakes, which kind of breaks that myth of her being the perfect goddess who never gets less than 100%. At this point, Takamine thinks that the teacher must have made some mistake when grading the test since she is absolutely sure that she got everything right. Upon hearing this, the teacher assures her that there was no mistake and that she really couldn't do the test perfectly, but tries to calm her down by saying that no one is perfect. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Takamine decides to show everything she has right in the middle of the room. Upon seeing this, Shirota is hypnotized by her resume, but soon comes back to reality and wonders what the hell she is doing with that. And suddenly Shirota wakes up from a very strange trance and realizes that none of that actually happened. He didn't get a high grade and Takamine has never gotten a grade below 100. Besides that, he hears the teacher calling him to actually take the test. He is still confused by everything that happened, but he starts to think that maybe he just took a chance during class and ended up in a parallel universe. After all, that's the only explanation for him seeing a high grade like 52. But right after thinking this, he goes to take his test and discovers that he actually got 52, exactly the grade he saw in the strange dream, and that's when he realizes that he never actually slept and that what he experienced before was actually deja vu. Following this logic, Takamine should also get 98, which was the grade he saw her getting in the vision, but to his surprise, she gets the highest grade on the test, leaving Shirota completely lost, not understanding anything, and when he leaves the room, he realizes that the vision he had was neither a dream nor deja vu. Even so, Shirota feels that everything was so real that it couldn't be just his imagination. Furthermore, he remembers the scene of her changing in the gym storage room, a completely different place to do that. Then he realizes that very strange things have been happening for a while now, so he decides to investigate what's going on, even if it means getting into a lot of trouble. So he goes to the student council room where Takamine is and offers to help her with whatever she needs. Then he tells her the truth, saying that he's going to say something really weird and says that he saw her get a 98 on the test instead of 100. Upon hearing this, Takamine immediately erases all expression from his face and asks if he told anyone else what he saw. He then assures her that he didn't talk about it to anyone. But even so, Takamine starts to corner him against the wall, asking if he saw anything else besides the grade, like her airbags in the gym storage room. Upon hearing this, Shirota is shocked by that super direct interrogation, but Takamine keeps pressing and the boy tries to pretend not to understand, saying that he didn't see anything. So she decides not to hit him because she knows that it won't help at all. Instead, she proposes that they have a more productive conversation. Before the conversation even starts, Shirota already imagines that they're going to decide how big the punishment will be, what he's going to do with this. He starts to get even more scared, thinking he's going to be expelled from school. Suddenly, Takamine serves a glass of water for them to start talking, but Shirota is so nervous about everything that he ends up spilling the glass of water on her, but Takamine manages to dodge it before the water hits her. She then tries to calm him down, saying that she doesn't intend to hit him. On the contrary, she's willing to offer him a great opportunity. So she starts to take off her clothes again and makes time go back to the past. But unlike before, in this timeline, the glass he dropped actually hits her, wetting Takamine completely. After that, she tells him to dry himself, especially the part of the father. You know, right? And as soon as he puts his hands towards the president's heart, Shirota feels completely useless. While Takamine asks if he didn't notice anything strange, Shirota, still scared, answers that he doesn't notice anything and thinks he must have done something else besides getting her wet. That's when Takamine takes his hand and presses it against his chest and asks if he can understand now. What is she trying to say? And Shirota responds by saying that her front commission is very soft. Upon hearing this, Takamine can't hold back and hits him right in the weak spot and says that his perception is really zero. But then she remembers that he was squeezing the breast of the hottest girl in school, so it makes sense that his brain had a problem. After that, she finally reveals what the other problem is that he didn't notice. Besides being all wet, she's also not wearing a bra. When she says this, Takamine explains that this is her secret ability called the Maiden Who Knows No Impurity, or also known as the Eternal Path of the Virgin. This ability only activates when she takes off her underwear and allows her to undo events, basically making time go back to the past. Hearing this, Shirota is still a little lost with everything, and then Takamine explains that he took off her bra so that she couldn't dodge the glass of water that was headed towards her. Upon hearing this, Shirota stands up ready to question everything, but before he can say anything, Takamine interrupts, already knowing exactly what he asks her, and she deduces that he wants to know where her bra went and also why he is the only one who remembers what she did. But when he hears this, Shirota is shocked, since he wasn't even thinking about these questions yet. Takamine then starts to answer the questions that he didn't even ask and explains that in addition to the piece disappearing, she simply disappears, going somewhere that not even she knows. As for the second question that he also didn't ask, she says that he only remembers everything because he ended up seeing her airbags without anything in them, since they are what prevent his memory from being erased when she activates this ability. After clarifying this, she imagines that he must have thought of a third question that would be the reason why she has such a bizarre ability. But once again, Shirota hadn't even formulated this question in his head since he was too busy trying to process all this flood of information that she was throwing at him. Anyway, Takamine answers this third question by saying that she has this ability simply because she is worthy of being number one, which is why she has this power to help her stay as the most impeccable student in the school, whether in studies or sports. In addition, she still feels blessed to have a wonderful body with perfect proportions. And going back to talking about her ability, Takamine explains that this ability appeared when a small disaster happened in her life back in the 5th grade, and even at that time she was already by far the best student in the school without even needing to use this ability that she only discovered later. However, at the athletics festival that year, she ended up feeling sick during the race because she ate too much, and this made her lose, finishing in 2nd place, which for her was the biggest embarrassment of her life. At that moment, she was overcome by an absurd feeling of humiliation that got so out of control that she ended up peeing on her own clothes. And it was exactly when she pulled down her panties that Takamine was automatically transported to a new reality where she was holding the 1st place flag. But since every time she activates this ability her clothes disappear, she then makes a proposal to Shirota. He will be her personal closet and will carry her lingerie for her in addition to helping her change whenever necessary. However, after hearing this whole crazy story, Shirota decides that he will not help her. But Takamine does not accept this and continues to insist until out of nowhere the two end up falling to the floor in a very suggestive position, and Takamine lets out a very loud scream, drawing the attention of some students who run out to see what's going on in the classroom. When they get there, Takamine falsely accuses him of having harassed her, and because of that, the police quickly show up at the school to arrest him. Meanwhile, Takamine starts to provoke him, saying that he's going to use his ability to undo this whole situation, but to do so, he has to swear that he's going to be her locker and help her whenever necessary. With no other way out, Shirota accepts the deal and officially becomes the girl's personal locker. With that, he returns to the timeline where he wasn't arrested for harassment, and Takamine then gives him his first job, in which he has to put her panties on, and as soon as he does that, Takamine tells him to do the same with her bra, leaving the boy all red, but she reminds him that he's already put on the bottom half, so putting on the top half is nothing special for someone who's already done half the job. Guys, this work is really complicated, you know, so if you want part 2, write now in the comments part 2 so I can bring a continuation. Also subscribe to the channel and leave a like.